You're listening to Turi Ryder's She Said What podcast. I'm Turi, along with Marci Persky. In this installment, an unheard of movie genre, the true crime podcast, the true crime TV reenactment, and Marci's highly educated goldfish. Have you ever heard there's something in Italy called the white telephone movies?
No.
You're the movie person. Apparently these were the first family values films and were filled with luxury items and paved the way for, of all things, Mussolini. It bothers me that there's a whole genre of movies that I never heard of in my life. When you hear that there's a whole genre of something, do you either I feel old or I feel like an dope. I don't know.
Yeah, I
have
just
no idea.
immediately look everything up.
On Google.
Yeah.
Well,
Google it.
I would have done that, but instead we had pizza. And and then this is a weird thing that's happening all over Chicago. Strangers are coming up and talking to people about Ukraine. Total strangers. I complimented the woman at the next table on her earrings, and they stopped at our table and just started talking about Ukraine.
Were they KGB or something?
No, actually, they were immigrants from Ukraine in 1978.
Oh, okay.
But
so they're trying to rally up American support.
I think they just were upset. People are walking around upset. People are talking to strangers. You know what it is? Before COVID, we couldn't talk to anybody and we couldn't even look at anybody. And now COVID is abating and we're all going to whip off our masks and tell everybody everything. I think there's going to be a new, basically a morally running around naked thing. That's what I think.
I think we already have that on TV. Every time I flip past a Maury or Jerry Springer or these court shows, I always wondered, how much would I have to be paid to get on one of these shows and just vomit everything that's in my brain?
Yeah.
And I've decided there's no amount.
Money. Yes. Well,
No.
I remember once a radio doctor about whom I thought highly at the time. He used to say that there was a psychological profile of the people who do these reality shows and reveal all shows, and they're all the same personality type. And he had a whole full description of what kind of people go on these shows that actually will answer your question. What kind of people go on these shows? They know, and they look for them. But see, you think that this unburdening has been happening amongst people on TV for a long time, and I would agree with you. Now what's happening is you get it all over the place in real life. The whole world is telling you everything. It's like when you shake up a can of Coke and then you open it and it's like that.
Now, see, we're secluded out here. So we don't have people like that out here. We have animals that don't necessarily talk. They let you know when they want to eat or go out. In the little town here where our grocery store, people tend to just give each other dirty looks. People do not say hello like you would, like on the TV in Mayberry.
So much
everyone
for
says
small
hello.
town life. Really?
No, people don't say hi. They might look at what you're buying and just but no, it's not like that here at all.
Why are they looking at what you're buying?
I have no idea. To see if you're smoking the devil's lettuce, I guess. I don't know.
I thought people move out there so that they can do that. I thought that's the whole point of living.
Not here.
Really?
No.
Have you noticed that all the true crime podcasts occur in small towns where everybody supposedly minds their own business and nobody bothers anybody? So maybe they're just looking at you askance because of the podcast thing where everybody in a small town is either
I look like a killer,
criminal past or a criminal future.
Well, I watch all of those shows on TV, and I can attest they are all in small towns. And I even saw one based in Kalamazoo, where I lived.
Yes.
And we saw one in Flagstaff, where I lived, and that is not too far from us. And they were all versions of the TV show Snapped,
where people lose
where
their
the wives
mind.
kill their husbands.
And the ones that I seem to end up with, are the dismembered body left in it's kind of like Mad Libs.
Yeah,
10
it
years
was,
ago, I blank my blank with a blank and then blanked the body until it was discovered by blanks.
my friend called me yesterday and said she was driving down the street in Flagstaff,
Yes.
and a guy in front of her pulled over his car, got out, took a shovel out of the back seat, and started digging in a dumpster with the shovel. And she said, "Should I call the police?"
What was your answer?
I said, "No, I'd get out of my car and go look and see maybe there's something valuable down there."
Yeah, you live in a Mad Lib.
Definitely.
Live in a
We all do.
true crime podcast Mad Lib. If you listen, you also probably get troubled by the true crime podcasts. They've taken a clue from the 48 Hours School of Television, where 48 Hours, which was presented across, what is it usually presented across, like 5 hours? And really there's 15 minutes worth of content. It's getting to be the same with podcasts. And they get these great reviews. Oh, so-and-so goes and digs up things that nobody has seen and nobody has heard. Really? That audio they used is a cut from the Dick Cavett show in 1976. It's not like they've discovered something new.
I can't listen to the true crime podcast. And I don't know if it's because of my background as a journalist and going to all the trials that I've been to or bodies that I've seen or crime scenes that I've been actively involved in as a journalist. But I'm very, very, very critical of them. I'd rather watch it on TV because then
nothing happens on TV either.
No, but I like to watch the reenactments because they're actually pretty funny.
Oh, you watch them for their humor value.
The reenactments, yeah.
Yes, and the blood.
Yeah.
Does the reenacted blood bother you the same way real blood makes you queasy and pass out?
You know what? We actually had this conversation yesterday because Frankie makes me watch these horrible bloody movies. And yesterday I came in from doing something, and for the 975th time, he's watching John Wick 3, and there's blood flying everywhere. And they go to cut off John Wick's finger, and I cover my face and I'm yelling, "Frankie, Frankie, Frankie," until he handed me the remote and I found some cartoon or something to watch.
To detox.
Yes. Even though that I've seen this movie 975 times and I know that it's not really his finger.
And it's not really blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But on these true crime ones, you can see, you see the real criminal, right?
Right.
When you see the actor or actress that they choose to portray this criminal in the reenactment, and they look nothing alike.
Right.
They always make them look really good compared to what they look like. And that just, I don't know, that just makes me laugh.
It's weird to think about the ways you can distract your brain and how distraction works or doesn't work. You know how sometimes when you have something unpleasant to do, you do I'm going to think of something else. I'm imagining, like if you have an MRI and you think to yourself of a ocean scene instead of the fact that it's a lot like being locked in your coffin. What if, to remind yourself that it isn't real blood, you had a little plate of ketchup in front of you, and every time you got a little queasy, you just took some of the ketchup, fake blood, ketchup, it's what it is. Would that help? Or would it be no use at all? Like when you go for your annual gynecological exam, or if you're a guy and you're going for your proctology workup, they have a picture of farm scene on the ceiling for you to look at, or a map of the stars or something, as if that's really going to distract you. We're going to put this picture of Van Gogh's Starry Night on the ceiling, and you won't notice the stirrups and the freezing cold thing. But would the ketchup help?
Probably not.
No? Okay. Was a thought.
No, and I don't know why. I do like Keanu Reeves, and I do like thinking of him with all his digits. But no, bloody movies for some reason really, really, really affect me.
Ketchup won't help.
And ketchup won't help.
Well, it was a thought. I was trying to be helpful.
Well, thank you for that.
I'm a helpful girl. Speaking
You
of,
and my husband.
yes. Now here's the remote. That's a good. I guess that's the better cure. The ketchup is just a placeholder. It's the remote you really need at a time like that.
Yes, it
Kind
really
of like,
was.
I just need you to take this speculum and put it somewhere else.
Yep.
There's nothing you can warm it up. You can microwave it. What I really need is for you to put it somewhere else. Yeah, sometimes there's nothing for it but the actual thing. Speaking of
Yeah.
being helpful, why? Oh, I have to ask you because you posted on our Instagram feed the wild burros. Where did you see those
Yes.
wild burros exactly?
They live less than a half mile from my house. Up behind, if you keep going up our road,
Yeah.
after it turns into what they call a primitive road and what we Midwesterns call a dirt road,
Yes.
they're just hanging out.
Huh. Really? They're
Yeah.
there all the time?
Yep. They live there.
How'd
They're
they
wild.
how'd they get there?
They dropped out of the sky. I don't know. They're all over. They're in different spots of Arizona. There's signs all along I-17 that say "Watch out for," and then a picture of a burro.
If you wanted a wild burro, could you kidnap a baby burro?
Well, the who is it? The
Bureau of Land Management?
wildlife, yeah, BLM,
Yes.
and then under that would be the wildlife, fish, and whatever.
Yeah.
They round them up and sell them every year.
Well, okay. So let's just assume that some of them come to a terrible end, right?
Like what?
Like, I don't know, dog food.
I don't. Ugh.
But the baby burros that you could maybe use for something handy, like plowing your garden or something.
I've gone to several of the BLM sales where
No,
there's
Frankie lets
the
you go to that
burros.
and you haven't come home with a burro yet?
horses too.
You're not getting a horse because even you know better than to try and adopt a horse. But I could see you trying to sneak home a baby burro.
I know. It's still like in the
In
it's
play?
in the back
It's
pocket.
in play.
He
Yeah.
listens to this, so shh. Just whisper
How would you
about it.
how would you hide the burro would just show up one day and with the goats? Is that what you would do?
Uh-huh. Oh yeah.
And what do
It's more
what
than
do you do?
sufficient.
I mean, your goats are just entertainment for you, and I sort of understand that because we had chicken TV for a long time until
Yeah,
they
no, I love
destroyed
my
every
goats.
inch of our property, and now they're just in a run. But they used to just wander around the yard, and we amused ourselves just by watching them because we're pathetic. But the burro, I mean, you wouldn't have a use for it though, because if I had a
Well,
burro, it would have to serve a practical function.
well, burros actually do serve a practical bunk. And for people who don't know, a burro's a donkey.
Yeah, little ones.
Just out here southwest, we call them burros.
They're littler than regular donkeys, though, right?
Nah, they're the same.
Not
There's
as
mini ones and then there's regular ones.
they're not as cute sounding if they're donkeys.
Right. We call them burros because we're close to Mexico and
I see.
whatever.
So the little
But
baby burro, what does
they
it do?
are they're used as livestock guardian animals. They can kill a coyote, but at the same time, they can also kill a dog. So that's why there's no burro in my backyard. I love my
Oh,
dogs.
so every time you think about a burro, Frankie says, "How about another dog?"
I think about my dogs,
Right? Frankie
especially
says,
the little
"Here,
yippy one.
look at this cute little puppy." No burro, no burro, no burro.
They're livestock protectors. They are not pet stock protectors.
And in your house, it's hard to tell what's what.
It's true. It's all stock.
It's very hard to tell. This goat, what is this goat? See, if I had a goat, it would have to do something useful. I know you said they were supposed to keep the property devoid of thistles and nettles, but
And
they
they've been doing that.
no, you feed them.
Well, I do feed them.
Yeah, and
yes,
they
of
don't
course.
protect the outside from anything because they protect a little tiny part of it, and you can't go out there anyway because it's covered with goat poop. So
You walk right through it, miss.
you
I don't step
you
in
can
goat
walk
poop.
right
They're
through
like
it.
little raisins. They're
I
little tiny bean things. I
I-
sweep them
I
off the deck
don't-
every day.
Yeah, thanks. I had a rabbit. I know what's involved. You can't fool me.
They're nicer than rabbits. They love me.
No, they don't love
They're
you.
just like my fish. My fish all know me by name.
Of
Like
course.
if I call them, yeah.
Yeah.
If I say one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish, they will all come one at a time.
Have you tried this experiment without holding the fish food over the tank in your hand?
No.
Ah,
No.
okay then.
That would be flood.
Fraud, fish fraud. I like that.
Yeah.
I think this is going to occupy my brain for quite some time. Thanks for listening to Turi Ryder's She Said What podcast. If you'd like to do us a great favor, please leave us a good review wherever you hear this podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at Turi Ryder's She Said What. And you might also enjoy my book, She Said What? A Life on the Air, which you can find any place you buy your books or on Amazon.